Chapter 7. The Merchant Guild. The bronze wagon token rested on the counter of the Moonlight General Store. Morning light passed through the repaired windows and reflected across its engraved surface. Ethan stood behind the counter, studying the symbol of a wagon crossing two roads. Gareth had called it proof of trust. The merchant system had called it Ethan's first professional connection. To Ethan, it represented something even greater. A road beyond Greenhollow. A translucent blue map floated before him. The Moonlight General Store appeared as a glowing point at the western edge of the trade network. A brighter point pulsed to the east. Riverside Town. New main opportunity. Visit the Merchant Guild in Riverside Town. Register as an official merchant. Potential rewards. Trade license. Regional contract access. Bulk trading. Guild contracts. The journey would take approximately half a day on foot. Ethan closed the interface. He looked around the shop. The shelves were no longer empty. Soap, candles, flour, salt, rope and wooden bowls had been arranged neatly. Greenleaf herbs filled a woven basket near the front. Rowan's rabbit pelts hung along the side wall. The Moonlight General Store had finally begun to feel alive. Leaving it, even for a single day, made Ethan uneasy. He had customers who depended on him. He also had a rival who had already spread false rumors and attempted to create an artificial shortage. Victor might use Ethan's absence as another opportunity. The bell above the entrance rang. Martha entered with Lily beside her. Martha carried her usual herb basket. Her long silver hair was tied in a loose bun, and her dark green shawl rested across her shoulders. Lily hurried toward the counter. "Good morning, Mr. Ethan." "Good morning, Lily." Her emerald green eyes moved immediately toward the bronze token. "Is that from the traveling merchant?" "Yes." "Is it valuable?" "I think its meaning is more valuable than the metal." Lily leaned closer without touching it. "It has a wagon. Gareth gave it to me so I could visit the Merchant Guild." Martha stopped beside the counter. "The guild in Riverside." Ethan nodded. "I need to register as an official merchant." "When will you go?" "Today, if possible." Martha looked around the shop. "You should." Ethan had expected questions. Instead, her answer was immediate. "You don't think I should wait?" "For what?" "Until the shop is more stable." Martha placed her basket on the counter. A shop becomes stable by building strong foundations. If the guild can help you trade legally and find better connections, delaying the journey will not protect this place. Ethan glanced toward the shelves. "I don't like leaving it unattended. I can watch the building." He looked at her. "You already have work. I finished gathering early this morning. I can sit here for a day. I don't want you managing sales without me." Martha gave him an amused look. "I was buying and selling herbs before you were born." Ethan almost explained that, technically, he was from another world and had lived 29 years before entering this body. He wisely remained silent. Martha continued. "I will not touch your stock or coins. If customers arrive, I will tell them the shop is temporarily closed and that you will return tomorrow." Lily raised her hand enthusiastically. "I can help watch it too." "You have lessons," Martha reminded her. Lily slowly lowered her hand. "I can help after lessons." Ethan looked from Martha to Lily. He had spent years working alone during late-night shifts on Earth. Whenever something went wrong, there had rarely been anyone nearby who genuinely wanted to help. The feeling was still unfamiliar. "Thank you," he said. Martha smiled gently. "That is what neighbors are for." Ethan took a small wooden board from beneath the counter. He carefully wrote a message using the local Ethan's memories of the language. Moonlight General Store. Temporarily closed. Owner visiting the Riverside Merchant Guild. Open again tomorrow. He hung the board on the front door. The sight of the word closed made him uncomfortable. However, a single day of lost sales could create opportunities that would support the shop for years. Ethan prepared a small travel bag. He packed bread, water, a clean cloth and a few basic supplies. He placed Gareth's token securely inside his shirt and checked it twice. The mysterious item voucher remained unopened inside the system inventory. He had been tempted to use it after Gareth left. But a mysterious reward could contain almost anything. Opening it before an important journey, without knowing whether it required space, materials or immediate action, seemed irresponsible. The voucher would wait. Martha watched as Ethan locked the shop's storage room. "Be careful on the road," she said. "Are monsters common between here and Riverside?" "Not during daylight, but desperate men can be more dangerous than monsters." "That sounds true in every world." Martha tilted her head. "Every world." Ethan paused. "Every part of the world." She continued watching him for a moment. Then she smiled faintly. "Of course." Ethan stepped outside. The morning air was cool, and a light wind moved through the grass beyond Greenhollow's old central wall. Lily followed him to the road. "Will Riverside be very big?" Gareth said it was a town. "Bigger than Greenhollow?" "Much bigger, probably." "Will there be hundreds of shops?" "I'll count them for you." Lily smiled. "You don't really have to count all of them." "That is fortunate." She held out a small cloth pouch. "Grandmother packed dried berries." Ethan accepted it. "Thank you. Come back safely." "I will." He looked once more at the Moonlight General Store. Martha stood near the doorway beneath the faded sign. Lily remained beside her, waving. The building still appeared old. Its roof needed repairs. Several wooden boards were discolored, and the painted moon on the sign had almost disappeared. But it no longer looked abandoned. It looked like a place waiting for its future. Ethan turned east and began walking toward Riverside. The road passed through fields surrounding Greenhollow. Farmers worked beneath the morning sun while carts carried vegetables, grain and firewood toward the village. Several people recognized Ethan and greeted him. "Going somewhere, shopkeeper?" "Riverside." "For supplies?" "For the merchant guild." The farmer who had asked gave a low whistle. "Moving quickly, aren't you?" "I hope so. Bring back some cheaper cooking pots if you find them." Ethan remembered the customer request recorded by the system. "One iron cooking pot." "I'll look." As Greenhollow disappeared behind him, the road widened. The trade network interface remained available in the corner of his vision. When he focused on it, the glowing route toward Riverside appeared over the landscape. The system did not transport him or shorten the journey. It simply showed the known road and nearby trade points. Small markers appeared along the path. A grain farm. A roadside well. A wagon repair shed. A seasonal produce stall. Each point represented a person or business that might become important in the future. Ethan dismissed the interface. He wanted to observe the road with his own eyes. Merchants moved in both directions. Some pushed handcarts filled with vegetables. Others guided donkeys carrying sacks of grain. Large wagons transported barrels, timber and bundles of wool. Ethan noticed how often traffic slowed. One section of the road had become muddy after recent rain. A wagon wheel had sunk into the soft earth, forcing several travelers to help pull it free. The road was not merely a path. It was part of the market. A damaged road increased travel time. Longer travel increased food costs for drivers and animals. Delays could spoil products. Broken wheels required repairs. Every problem eventually became part of a product's final price. On Earth, customers rarely saw the complicated chain that brought an item to a store shelf. Most people noticed only the price tag. Here, Ethan could see every difficult step. A caravan of 3 wagons approached from Riverside. The lead driver raised a hand. "Keep to the side." Ethan moved away from the center of the road. The wagons passed, carrying wooden crates marked with the emblem of a large regional merchant. A dark letter V had been burned into each crate. "Victor." Ethan watched until the caravan disappeared toward Greenhollow. Victor's network extended farther than Ethan had realized. The man did not simply own a large shop. He controlled wagons, storage and supplier relationships. Garrett's warning returned to Ethan. "Stop thinking of him as an angry shopkeeper." Ethan resumed walking. "I need connections," he murmured. Not connections based on bribes or fear. Connections based on mutual benefit. That was the only network Ethan wanted to build. Near midday, the landscape changed. The road descended toward a broad river shining beneath the sun. Boats moved slowly across the water, carrying barrels and cargo. Wooden docks extended from both banks. Beyond the river loom stood Riverside town. A tall stone wall surrounded the settlement. Guard towers rose above the main gate, and colorful flags moved in the wind. The road led toward a wide bridge crowded with travelers. Ethan stopped briefly. Greenhollow's old defensive wall had made the village seem large when he first arrived in this world. Riverside was different. This was a real trading town. Wagons waited in line before the gate. Farmers carried baskets toward the market district. Riders delivered letters. Craftsmen pushed carts loaded with tools and pottery. Voices mixed with the sounds of wheels, horses and ringing metal. The trade network map flashed. New settlement reached. Riverside town. Classification. Fortified trading settlement. Primary functions. River crossing. Regional market. Merchant guild branch. Caravan organization. Population and full market information unavailable at current trade network level. Ethan closed the screen. He crossed the bridge with the crowd. Guards inspected large wagons and commercial cargo, but travelers on foot entered through a smaller side passage. One guard looked at Ethan's travel bag. Business in Riverside. Merchant guild registration. Do you have a recommendation? Ethan showed Garrett's bronze token. The guard's expression changed. You know Garrett. He purchased goods from my shop. The guard examined the wagon symbol. Keep that secure. His name is respected on the Western Road. He returned the token. The merchant guild is near the central market. Follow the bronze wagon signs. Thank you. Inside the walls, Riverside seemed even larger. Stone and timber buildings stood side by side along busy streets. Shop signs hung above nearly every doorway. A baker displayed rows of bread beside an open window. A blacksmith's hammer rang from a nearby workshop. Cloth merchants called out prices while fishmongers carried fresh catches from the river docks. Ethan smelled roasted meat, hot metal, horses, river water and spices. He understood immediately why Greenhollow's villages depended on regional merchants. Riverside offered products that a village could never produce alone. Iron tools. Large cooking pots. Woven blankets. Glass bottles. Medicine. Books. At the same time, Riverside depended on the villages around it for grain, herbs, timber, meat and labor. Neither place could prosper completely by itself. That was the purpose of trade. Ethan passed a textile shop and noticed several wool blankets hanging outside. He remembered the request for 5 blankets before winter. The displayed prices were higher than he expected. He did not stop to examine them yet. Register first. Then study the market properly. Following the bronze wagon signs, Ethan reached a large open square. At its center stood the Riverside Merchant Guild. The building rose 3 stories above the surrounding shops. Its lower level was made from pale stone, while dark polished timber supported the upper floors. Tall windows looked over the square. A large emblem hung above the entrance. A bronze merchant wagon surrounded by golden wheat. Merchants entered and left continuously. Some carried documents. Others argued with clerks near the steps. A caravan leader stood beside a damaged cargo chest while 2 guild officers examined its broken lock. Ethan adjusted his brown linen shirt and walked toward the entrance. He became aware of how ordinary he looked. Most merchants wore clean coats, decorated belts or badges showing their organizations. Ethan had simple clothes, dusty boots and no visible guild mark. Several people glanced at him before looking away. He had been ignored by customers on Earth many times because he was only a night shift worker. He knew the feeling. It did not frighten him. The guild's main doors opened into a vast hall. Long counters divided the room into sections. Signs identified different services. Merchant registration. Contracts. Caravan records. Weights and measures. Currency exchange. Trade disputes. Large boards covered the walls, displaying requests and official notices. Clerks moved quickly between desks while merchants waited in organized lines. Ethan joined the line for registration. A man standing ahead of him carried several ledgers bound in red leather. Behind Ethan, two young merchants quietly discussed grain prices. The southern farms want another copper per sack. Then buy from the west. The western road toll increased. Everything increased. Ethan listened without staring. Prices were never isolated numbers. Every increase had a reason. After several minutes, he reached the counter. A young woman sat behind it. She appeared to be around 22 years old. Her shoulder-length blonde hair framed a neat, professional face, and her bright green eyes moved rapidly over the documents before her. She wore a white blouse beneath a navy guild vest. A bronze guild badge had been pinned over her heart. She finished stamping a form and looked up. "Welcome to the Riverside Merchant Guild. How may I help you?" "I want to register as a merchant." Her expression remained polite. "Do you operate an existing business?" "Yes, the Moonlight General Store in Greenhollow Village." Her pen paused. "Greenhollow. You know it." "I know of it." She searched through a stack of records. "I don't remember an active licensed shop under that name." "The shop reopened recently." "How recently?" "Several days ago." The receptionist slowly looked back at him. "You opened a shop several days ago, and you are already applying for guild registration." "I received a recommendation." "From whom?" Ethan removed Gareth's bronze token and placed it on the counter. The moment she saw the engraved wagon, her professional expression changed. She picked up the token carefully. "This belongs to Gareth. He gave it to me." "You are certain he gave it to you willingly?" "He placed it in my hand." She turned the token over. The crossroad mark on the back caught the light. "This is his personal trademark. Gareth does not distribute these casually." "So I've been told." "What did you do for him?" "I sold him soap, salt and locally gathered herbs." The receptionist waited. "And that was all? He gave you his trust token because you sold him household goods?" "I charged him the same fair prices I charge my other customers." The receptionist looked unconvinced. Ethan continued. "I also protected my supplier's payment when I gave Gareth a bulk discount." Her eyes sharpened. "You reduced your own margin?" "Yes." "Why?" "The larger order reduced my handling cost. There was no reason to take the discount from the supplier." She examined him silently. Then she stood. "Please wait here. Is something wrong?" "No, but a recommendation carrying Gareth's personal mark must be verified by a senior officer." She walked toward a staircase at the rear of the hall. Ethan waited beside the counter. A few nearby merchants had noticed the token. Their expressions ranged from curiosity to suspicion. One middle-aged merchant leaned toward another. "That boy knows Gareth. He doesn't even have a proper coat." Ethan ignored them. A person's clothing could show wealth. It could not prove integrity. Several minutes later, the receptionist returned. An elderly man walked beside her. He was tall despite his age. Long silver-white hair reached his shoulders, and a carefully maintained white beard covered his chest. Kind blue eyes studied Ethan from beneath thick eyebrows. He wore elegant royal blue robes trimmed with gold. A silver merchant guild badge rested near his collar. The surrounding clerks became more attentive as he entered the hall. Several merchants bowed. The receptionist stopped before Ethan. "This is Edwin, guild master of the Riverside branch." Ethan bowed respectfully. "Guild master." Edwin held out one hand. "May I see the token?" Ethan gave it to him. The elderly man examined the wagon symbol and the crossroads. "It is genuine." He looked at Ethan. "When did you meet Gareth?" "Yesterday." "And he trusted you this quickly?" He said a merchant reveals his character when a profitable customer enters the room. Edwin's eyes showed a hint of amusement. "That sounds like him." He handed the token back. "What is your name?" "Ethan Carter." Come upstairs, Ethan Carter. The guildmaster turned toward the staircase. The receptionist gathered several forms. I'll bring the registration documents. Ethan followed them. As he climbed the stairs, he felt someone watching him. He looked across the main hall. Merchants continued speaking with clerks. Porters carried crates through a side entrance. Travelers waited beside the caravan counter. Nothing appeared unusual. Then Ethan noticed a figure near one of the stone pillars. A man wearing a black cloak stood in the shadow of the second-floor balcony. His face was hidden beneath a deep hood. Only two sharp amber eyes were visible. The stranger looked directly at Garrett's token. Then his gaze shifted to Ethan. Merchant's eye activated instinctively. Name, unknown. Occupation, unknown. Trust, unreadable. Immediate commercial need, unknown. System notice. Insufficient information. Ethan's steps slowed. Is something wrong? The receptionist asked. He looked toward the pillar again. The black-cloaked man was gone. Nothing, Ethan said. But he remembered the amber eyes. Edwin led him into a large office overlooking the guild square. Maps covered one wall. Books and trade records filled several shelves. Small wooden markers represented towns and caravan routes across the region. The receptionist placed the registration papers on Edwin's desk. Thank you, Clara, he said. So her name was Clara. She stood to one side with her pen ready. Edwin sat behind the desk and motioned for Ethan to take the chair opposite him. This conversation is part of your registration examination, Edwin explained. Garrett's recommendation allows you to meet me. It does not automatically grant you a license. I understand. A merchant license provides legal protection and opportunity. It also gives the guild authority to investigate your conduct. That is reasonable. Many applicants say that before receiving their first fine. Edwin opened a blank record book. Let us begin with simple questions. Where is your business located? Greenhollow Village. What do you sell? Food staples, household necessities, basic tools and locally supplied products. Current suppliers. Martha supplies green leaf herbs. Rowan supplies rabbit pelts. Do you maintain written transaction records? Ethan paused. Basic records. They need improvement. Clara's pen moved across the paper. Edwin noticed Ethan's honesty. You could have simply said yes. That would not make the records better. No, it would not. Edwin folded his hands. How did you obtain your starting inventory? Ethan had prepared for this question during the journey. He could not reveal the merchant system. I have access to a private supplier arrangement. Name. I am not permitted to disclose the source. Clara looked up from the document. Edwin's expression remained calm. Guild law allows merchants to protect ordinary supplier identities. However, restricted, dangerous or stolen products must be declared. My goods are not stolen or restricted. Can their quality be verified? Yes. Can you provide samples for inspection? I can. Edwin nodded. That is sufficient for provisional registration. Your goods may be examined later. Ethan relaxed slightly. The guild master continued. Have you been involved in a commercial dispute? Victor attempted to purchase all my stock for double its value. Clara's pen stopped again. Victor, she asked. You know him? Most merchants in this region know him, Edwin answered. What did you do? Clara asked. I refused. Edwin studied him. Why? He intended to remove the goods from Greenhollow and create a shortage. Did he tell you that? No. The offer made no business sense unless controlling the stock was more important than selling it. The guildmaster's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. And afterward, false rumors spread through the village. People were told my goods were fake or dangerous. Can you prove Victor ordered the rumors? No. Clara resumed writing. Edwin leaned back. You understand the difference between suspicion and evidence. I do. That distinction will protect you inside the guild. Ethan remembered Garrett's warning. Friends in places where a village merchant had no influence. Does Victor have connections here? Edwin did not answer immediately. The guild contains many merchants and officials. Some know Victor professionally. It was a careful response. Ethan understood the hidden meaning. Victor had influence, but Edwin would not make an accusation without evidence. Edwin closed the record book. One final question. Ethan waited. Why do you want to become a merchant? Ethan had expected questions about capital, products and suppliers. He had not expected this. To earn money would have been an acceptable answer. Profit was necessary. Without profit, a shop could not restock, pay suppliers or survive. But that was not the complete reason. Ethan remembered the convenience store on Earth. Customers arriving late at night because they had nowhere else to go. A tired nurse buying food after a long shift. An elderly man counting coins for medicine and bread. Then he remembered Lily standing inside the ruined Moonlight General Store with one copper coin in her hand. She had needed bread for her sick grandmother. No merchant had been willing to help her. Ethan looked directly at Edwin. I want honest trade to reach places powerful merchants ignore. Clara's pen became still. Ethan continued. People in poor villages still need bread, soap, medicine, blankets and tools. They should not have to pay unfair prices simply because they live far from a large market. Edwin listened without interrupting. A merchant should earn profit, Ethan said. But a successful deal should benefit both sides. If only one person gains, eventually the other side stops trusting the market. And what do you intend to build? Edwin asked. A shop people can depend on. Only one shop. Ethan looked toward the trade map on the wall. Roads connected Riverside to villages, towns and distant cities. Not forever. A faint smile appeared beneath Edwin's white beard. That is an ambitious answer. I have an ambitious goal. Gareth mentioned that quality. You spoke with him. His token carries a communication seal understood by the guild. It does not tell us everything, but it confirms that he personally approved the bearer. Edwin placed one hand on the registration papers. Honest words are easy. Maintaining them during scarcity, competition and debt is more difficult. I know. No, Edwin said gently. You are beginning to know. Ethan accepted the correction. The guild master picked up a silver stamp. However, every merchant must begin somewhere. He pressed the stamp against the bottom of the document. A soft golden light spread through the ink. Clara placed a small bronze plate on the desk. Edwin wrote Ethan's name into the guild register. Ethan Carter, owner of the Moonlight General Store in Greenhollow Village, your provisional application has been approved. The bronze plate glowed. Letters slowly appeared across its surface. Ethan Carter. Moonlight General Store. Bronze Merchant License. The merchant system responded immediately. Merchant Guild registration confirmed. Main opportunity completed. Official trade status acquired. Rewards received. Trade license. Merchant experience, 200. Bulk trading unlocked. Guild contracts unlocked. The blue light surrounding Ethan became brighter. Merchant experience requirement reached. Level increase available. Level 1, Apprentice Merchant. Advancing. Level 2, Junior Merchant. New merchant capabilities activated. Bulk trading. Guild contracts. Improved inventory organization. Basic transaction ledger pending initial review. Ethan felt no sudden increase in physical strength. His body did not change. Instead, the merchant system interface became clearer. The inventory reorganized itself into categories. Food. Household goods. Local products. Trade materials. Contract goods. A new section appeared beside the trade network. Guild contracts. No active contracts. Bronze contracts available after license orientation. The system's final message appeared. Level 2, Junior Merchant. A merchant's first sale proves possibility. A merchant's first connection creates opportunity. A merchant's first contract creates responsibility. Ethan closed the notifications. Edwin watched his expression. Are you feeling unwell? No. Many new merchants become emotional when receiving their first license. I was thinking about the responsibility. The guild master nodded approvingly. Clara handed the bronze license to Ethan. It was cool and heavier than Garrett's token. The merchant guild emblem covered the front. His name and business appeared on the back. With this license, you may conduct registered local trade, apply for small guild contracts and join approved caravans, Clara explained. Keep it with you whenever you trade outside Greenhollow. Ethan turned the license over in his hand. Several days earlier, he had awakened inside an abandoned building with only 10 copper coins. Now the largest commercial institution in the region officially recognized him as a merchant. It was a small rank. A bronze license. The first step of the guild hierarchy. But every large business began with a first legal record. Thank you, Ethan said. Edwin stood. Clara will explain the bronze license rules, register your trading territory and show you the beginner contract board. Today. If you are not too exhausted from the journey. I'm ready. Edwin gave a quiet laugh. You remind me of someone I knew many years ago. Was he successful? For a time. The answer carried an unexpected sadness. Before Ethan could ask more, someone knocked on the door. A clerk entered and whispered something to Edwin. The guildmaster's expression became serious. I must handle a dispute at the caravan office. He looked at Ethan. We will speak again. I look forward to it. Edwin left with the clerk. Clara began organizing the remaining documents. Guildmaster Edwin rarely performs bronze registration personally, she said. Garrett's token helped. It opened the door. She looked at Ethan. Your answers kept it open. Ethan placed the bronze license beside the wagon token. 2 pieces of metal. One represented personal trust. The other represented institutional recognition. He would need both. Outside Edwin's office, near the upper floor railing, the black-cloaked observer stood motionless. Sharp amber eyes watched Ethan hold the new license. The stranger had heard enough. He turned and descended a narrow side staircase without making a sound. No clerk stopped him. No merchant noticed him leave through the eastern door. In a quiet alley behind the merchant guild, the man opened a small black ledger. He wrote a single name. Ethan Carter. Beneath it, he added 3 lines. Garrett's trust confirmed. Merchant system candidate has entered the guild. Observe the Moonlight General Store. He closed the book. A black-gloved hand pulled the hood lower over his face. Then the cloaked observer disappeared into the crowded streets of Riverside. Upstairs, unaware that his name had just been recorded by a hidden enemy, Ethan looked through the guild window. Below him, wagons crossed the busy square. Merchants carried contracts. Workers unloaded cargo. Roads spread outward toward villages, cities and distant nations. The Moonlight General Store had begun with one honest sale. Now Ethan held the license that would allow him to enter a much larger market. His tiny shop had taken its first step beyond Greenhollow. And somewhere in Riverside, someone was already watching its rise.